Good evening, everybody. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. The meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation, at the link identified in the agenda. Emailed comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the city council prior to the meeting. Can I have roll call, please?
Mayor Harris.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Boomgarden.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Here.
Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
Excellent. Mr. City Attorney, may you please read the closed session items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have two items for closed session. The first is item A, conference of legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The name of the case is Robert Sutter. The claim number is 1596-610128, 1796-610250, 1796-610262. The second item is item B, conference of real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The property is APN 51516-007, located at the southwest corner of Darrow Drive and Youngs Lane, Yuba City, California. APN 61060-15, located at 2761 Quail Point Drive, Yuba City, California. APN 62210-02, located at 1488 Royal Ranchero Road, Yuba City, California. APN 62250-040, located at 1480 Williamsburg Drive, Yuba City, California. APN 62270-10, located at 3059 Jefferson Avenue, Yuba City, California. And the negotiator is Diana Langley, City Manager, Executive Director. The negotiation parties are to be determined, and under negotiation is whether to sell the properties, and if so, the price and terms of their payment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll be adjourning to closed session. Thank you.
And for the record, there is no members of the public here for public comment. Thank you.
Morning, good evening, everybody. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. The meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation, at the link identified in the agenda. Email comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before this meeting were distributed to the city council prior to the meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Harris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Boomgarden.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Here.
Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
So, okay, if everybody could please stand, we're going to have an invocation by Ron Fortenberry, Yuba City PD Chaplain. Thank you for being here today, Ron. Followed by the pledge led by Vice Mayor Shaw.
Thank you. Heavenly Father, thank you for showering us with many blessings. Thank you for these council members who spend long hours to ensure that we have the best representation possible. Thank you for our city workers who make our city a good place to live. Pray that you would continue to bless them and keep them safe. I ask, Father, for the first responders, that you would go before them with guardian angels. I pray, Father, that you would continue to bless our city with your presence. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Mr. City Attorney, do we have a report on closed session?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. There was no reportable action taken in closed session. However, Councilmember Boomgarden did not participate in item A and has a recusal announcement for closed session item A that he wanted to put on the record, so it was clear to the public what was happening. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Through the mayor,
Yes, sir.
I recused myself from item A of the closed session due to a close personal relationship with the individual that was involved in that item.
All right, very good. Thank you. And under agenda modifications, we have number 9. We maybe Sierra, you could help me keep an eye on the clock for 6:50. We have to do that one specifically at 6:50. And then we have the Sabufka Regional Levy Improvement Program Development Impact Fee item that has been continued to the meeting, or February 6th meeting. Any other agenda modifications? Council? Nothing? All right. So we'll go on to item number 1, ceremonial presentation, smoke-free places presentation by Blue Zones. And when I think Blue Zones, I think Eric or Marnie. Both Eric this time. Okay. Welcome, Eric. You can go here if you want or wherever you want, whatever you want. All right.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, and members of the general public. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today on this very important matter. My name is Eric Paredes. I am the public policy advocate with Blue Zones Project Yuba Sutter. I also just want to note that I have the privilege of serving as a co-chair of CHAT. CHAT is the Sutter County Tobacco Prevention Coalition. I do also want to know and acknowledge that we have some coalition members here in attendance today. So we have representatives from Sutter County Superintendent of Schools. We have Sutter County Public Health, of course, Blue Zones Project Yuba Sutter. Our bi-county public health officer, Dr. Liu, is here in attendance as well. And then there are also coalition partners who couldn't be here today, but are watching live stream via the Zoom presentation, the Zoom link as well. Just to also note, we've been here for other matters as well. So Blue Zones Project focuses on 3 policy areas. So our built environment, which we've spoken here before, food systems, and also tobacco prevention. So moving on, I do want to just first acknowledge that Yuba City has an existing smoke-free parks ordinance. I just want to thank you all for having this ordinance in place. It is the ordinance itself is fairly comprehensive, and it's pretty good. So just wanted to thank you all first for having this in place. I think it says a lot. It speaks a lot about the values of the city of Yuba City. However, I do just want to note that there's a lot that we can still do to keep our community safe. So we can do this by strengthening our current smoke-free parks policy ordinance, and we could do this by adding products that are newer out in the market. So when this ordinance was set into place, since then there's been some newer products out there, such as synthetic nicotine, flavor enhancers, cannabis, and other accessories. So we can also do more by expanding smoke-free outdoor spaces. So not just at parks, but places like recreational areas, service areas, public event areas, outdoor dining, and some of our main streets as well. So just one to mention is, for example, Pluma Street, right? Pluma Street is, our main downtown where we host a lot of events. A lot of community members come together, and we're getting a new park under the tower, right? So there's just so much more we could do to sort of expand these protections. So I want to just talk about the condition of Yuba City public spaces. So, public spaces are meant to be enjoyed by Yuba City residents, children, and people of all ages. Parks, for example, encourage well-being. They get people out and, get people to move naturally. And, they're just great social gathering spaces for us all. Yuba City parks, however, throughout Yuba City parks, the condition is pretty bad. If you go to most parks here in Yuba City, you could find a lot of tobacco-related waste. Here on the screen, the photos here are coalition members that came together at the end of October when we hosted the Yuba Sutter Shines. And they actually picked up trash all along Pluma Street. But what they also did is they specifically sort of set aside tobacco-related waste. And I actually brought some mason jars where we collected that trash. So just in a short period of time, our volunteers actually gathered all of this. So I didn't count. I don't know if any of us counted how much was in here, but we did a similar park cleanup in Marysville, and one jar alone had about 300. So you could probably do the math. It's much more than that. But it's not just parks, right? As you saw here, this was just Pluma Street alone. And these are, it's a public space that we really encourage our families to go to. We encourage folks to attend events like the Summer Stroll, our Halloween trick-or-treating, Christmas Stroll, I mean, you name it. So just wanted to note that. And I'm gonna just talk about why this is so important. So, I think data shows, right, how negative smoking is to our health. So of course we have firsthand smoking, which is inhaled by the smoker. We have secondhand smoke, which is smoke exposure that people breathe in when others are smoking. There is no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke. Even brief exposure can cause serious health problems and even be deadly to some. So really just completely eliminating smoking is the only way to fully protect people from secondhand smoke exposure. But the other one that I want to talk about that a lot of times we don't even think about is third-hand smoke. So third-hand smoke is a chemical residue from tobacco smoke. This is also, people tend to just call it tobacco residue. So this is a residue that, of course comes from people smoking. It sticks to our benches, our slides, at the play structures. And, this is also very, very toxic as well. And, this is all really important because when we talk about keeping our community safe, keeping the most vulnerable safe, it's very important that we do so. So keeping children safe is definitely one of the reasons why we want to, have smoke-free public spaces, because it ensures that, children who are still growing and infants, right, that they're protected because, their bodies are still developing. We want to make sure that we limit the exposure of smoking. Children exposed to secondhand smoke are an increased risk for sudden infant death syndrome, acute respiratory infections such as pneumonia and bronchitis, middle ear disease, more frequent and severe asthma, respiratory symptoms, and slowed lung growth. So this is another reason why, having more smoke-free outdoor places is important to us. The other reason is, of course, environmental impacts, right? So I showed you all the jars. The tobacco industry is a top global plastic polluter whose products and manufacturing directly contributes to climate change and deforestation. So cigarette butts, fun fact, are the #1 most littered item in the world, and #1 here in California by far. So because they're made out of plastic, they can take years and years to decompose. They're also packed with toxic chemicals like arsenic and lead that seep into our environment, threaten our rivers, our wildlife, etc. And then just one last thing that I will note is just potential economic growth. So, I think having smoke-free outdoor places does have the potential to increase economic growth. For example, when people get jobs in the area, one of the first things that they may do is take out their phone and Google, what's up with Yuba City, right? Like, do we have outdoor spaces? What is our grade with the American Lung Association? How do we rank on Healthy Places Index, right? So we want to make sure that we have ordinances in place where families want to move here, right? As we talk about bringing in new development, new commercial development, people to live here, building houses, we want to make sure that people want to come here, and we do that by really prioritizing people's health. And then just, Yuba City has the opportunity to continue leading by example. So like I noted, Yuba City has a strong, parks policy as well, but we can do so much more. And, you all have probably heard that a city's values are really reflected on their ordinances or their budget. And I think we could do that. We can further protections for people by expanding smoke-free outdoor places. And then just in conclusion, just to end my presentation here, we really just look forward to continue working with you all. Yuba City has been a great partner for Blue Zones in many different areas that we work in, and we just look forward to working with you all, with your staff as well. And just despite a significant decline over the last 50 years in the number of people that smoke, cigarette smoking remains a leading cause of preventable death and disability here in the United States. So just wanted to note that fact as well. So again, thank you. We certainly look forward to working together and just making our community a better place to live. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. You gentlemen have anything to comment or question or anything?
I know every third day I police our facility over on Live Oak Boulevard, and the cigarette butts are the bane of my existence. If you're going to smoke, just go without filters. I think they ought to make a law like that. If you're going to smoke it straight. That's my 2 cents.
It's worth a quarter. All right, thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate you taking the time. Definitely some good information there. Appreciate it. All right. We're going on to number 2, presentation by a Film Yuba Sutter presentation by Janelle Willis and Sabrina.
Thank you for having us again. Today, we're going to go ahead and get the film commission. I always forget. You have to do it. Film commission update, and it is going to be Sabrina. She is our lady in charge, and she knows her stuff. Sabrina. Thank you, Janelle. Good evening, everyone. I can get started because I have a general idea of what's coming. So thank you so much for your support. It's been a couple years since I've been able to physically be here. Last year I had an injury and Marnie was just a great partner and showed up and kind of did our 1 year mark presentation. So today I do want to just do a little combination of year 1 and 2, just to bring everybody kind of up to date with what the Film Commission is doing. So as a reminder, we exist to promote economic development in the community. So our goal is to reach outside productions that are looking for locations to film, looking to hire our local cast and crew, use our hotels, hire our caterers, do all of those things to increase that economic impact here locally. We are the primary representative for the film industry and the local community. So we're kind of the first stop that they go to get information about what we have. So we're a member of Flix. Whoops, I hit it twice. Sorry about that. Flix is the statewide network of film commissioners, film liaisons in California statewide. A lot of location managers, producers, they go to various affiliation organizations that we're members of. One of those is Flix, which I'm currently president of that organization. We have 42 members around the state, and there are certain guidelines that you have to be a member. So you have to have somebody whose job it is solely basically to communicate with the film industry, attend events, place ads in different publications that reach our audience. You know, we help them with permitting, so working with the various jurisdictions to make sure that they're covered if they are filming here, that they're doing so legally, that they have insurance. Our cities aren't liable if something goes wrong. All of those things. We do help, again, with connecting them with our local resources. In addition to kind of the basic guidelines that we have as a Flix member, we do other things as well. So we attend local filmmaker events. For those of you who haven't heard yet, there is a feature-length film that was done in this area called Livia's House, and it is screening this Friday. I believe there are still a couple tickets left. So if you need any more information about that, you can check our Facebook page or call me later. But we attend those events, like to support locally produced things as well as those that are coming in from out of the area. Film festivals, we like to support those as well, and anything that we can do. So even though our job is to help connect the outside community with our community, we like to make sure that we're supporting local filmmakers as well, because they then are kind of more prepared when we have the larger scale productions coming into the area. So some of the organizations that we're members of as well, Film USA is a network of United States film commissioners. We're one of those members. AFCI is the Association of Film Commissioners International. There's 1,100 film commissioners in the world. Just to give you an idea, it is kind of a unique position. We're a member of that. And California Film Commission is our statewide organization that oversees the Film and Tax Credit Program. And so they are the ones that, after we get our designation from the county, officially recognize Film Yuba Sutter as the local entity that is representing this area. So it's important that we have their support and designation. And then the Location Managers Guild International, we are a business partner with that. We want to make sure that we're supporting those people that are kind of our target audience. So we make sure that we're staying engaged there as well. So our contract for the last 2 years has basically stated that we're to attend a minimum of 4 industry events and meetings. I've listed here some of those that we have attended, and it's more than what the contract is, but we are excited to be able to do that, and so we hope to be able to continue having representation at those kind of things. Advertising, again, we are committed to a minimum of 2 print or digital campaigns. Some of them are up here. So Destination Film Guide, they have a reach of about 10,000 print subscribers and 6,000 by email. I won't go into all of the logistics, but basically, between Location International, Location California, Creative Handbook, Destination Film Guide, it's tens of thousands of industry people that are looking for locations, looking for information on the regions, and so it's important that we have a presence there, and we have really good relationship with those publications, so we're able to negotiate well. And then we do quarterly e-newsletters, and we always include a highlight location for the Film Yuba Sutter area. And during the first year, one of our contracted items was to create 1 promotional video. We did a series, and so those can be found on the Film Yuba Sutter YouTube channel. And we have a short commercial sizzle reel and a longer extended one. And so they would be used for different kinds of functions. The longer one we would be sending to industry people that are looking, kind of to get more of an idea of what we have to offer. And the shorter one would be used in different kinds of events to promote the area in a short way. So we were very excited to be able to complete all those. Okay, we also manage the Film Yuba Sutter Facebook page, and we use that to share different locations that are available, those videos that we were able to complete are on there, any new locations that are coming up. We also do location needs on there if we have a production that's looking for something, or cast and crew calls on those. So we have a really good following. This area is incredible with spreading the word, so we're very grateful for that as well. On our website, you can find our quarterly reports. So one of the things that we're tasked with doing as part of our affiliation with California Film Commission, and also just to make sure that we're providing a good service, is to track our various metrics. And so some of those key things I'll talk about tonight later on, but they're listed there. So we are always available for production inquiries. This job is not a 9-to-5 position. Productions kind of work around the clock, and so when they have a request in, we are available to respond. And we have a representative from our board. When Marnie stepped off the chamber, she joined our board, and so that was one of our goals for the second contract year. Okay, and then, we make sure that if we're attending events, that we're bringing collateral that helps to share the region. So we're doing that. And then we have a website that displays information about types of projects that have filmed in the area and then the types of locations that are available for productions. And this is our brochure that we did during year 1 as well. And that is a trifold brochure, so it doesn't look like this when somebody's holding it. It would fold up, but I just wanted to share it so you could see it does have a little bit of diversity of what locations are available here. So we get to the numbers. So our first year, we had 9 inquiries, 1 production that actually ended up filming, 4 shoot days, and we had an estimated economic impact from that of $6,000, and worked with one of the jurisdictions for 1 permit. So that's a very low number, but we were expecting 0 for our first year. So we were happy with that win. Our second year, we wanted to increase productions. Obviously, the first year was building infrastructure, so we wanted to make sure that we were doing something with that infrastructure and bringing more productions in, increasing or stabilizing at least the event attendance, and increasing our social media followers. So we're happy to share that we are not even done with year 2 yet. These numbers are through September, so we have another quarter basically of reports that will be coming for year 2. We've had 14 inquiries this year, specifically for this area, 4 productions that have filmed, 14 shoot days, 40 reported room nights. And that's important because we do receive funding from what was the Hotel Lodging Association. And so they like to know what those numbers are. And we have an estimated economic impact so far of about $160,000. So we're still reaching people through social media. We're reaching people through the website. As you can see on that social media reach, it's amazing, about 53,000 people from our 68 posts that we've had. So like I said, this area is just really incredible with sharing. The network gets really big really fast. So what's ahead? So we are planning on attending 2 different film festivals in Northern California. Both of those events will have opportunities for us to network with filmmakers. And the locations are really nice because those are generally people that are going to be filming in California. They're oftentimes coming to share films that they have done. And then we have filmmaker days that we're meeting with those particular people. So we're excited about those 2 opportunities. We are adding 20 locations at minimum, probably more, weather permitting, to our location gallery by the end of this month. We actually have an active photographer taking care of that this week. And then we're very excited to have 3 feature film projects that are on schedule to shoot in the spring. So hopefully next year our numbers are they should be even better than they are this year. So that's kind of the gist of what our efforts have been over the last couple of years, and the chamber has been, really a critical ally and partner for us, and we have very greatly appreciated your support as well in the endeavor.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. Any comments from council? Yes, sir.
Through the mayor, what's the definition of a feature film presentation? What would that be? You said there's 3.
Feature film production.
Yeah.
So they are, so there's independent feature, which is a kind of smaller budget. In Hollywood, that can be like under $100 million. So it can be anything from, that. And in—
I don't know what that means. Sorry.
Well, independent means basically it's not studio backed.
Okay.
So it's not one of the major studios that are producing it. And then there's a studio feature film. Those are generally the ones that have $100 million plus to produce, and they can build whatever they want, hire whoever they want, kind of thing. So generally speaking, in this area, we're going to be working with the independent filmmakers that are working on smaller budget. That doesn't mean no budget. It just means that they're typically not the studio production level.
The other question I had was regional film commissioner. What's the region?
Yeah, so Film Yuba Sutter falls under the Upstate California Film Commission umbrella. And that is covering Shasta, Tehama, Yuba, and Sutter. And the reason for that is primarily financial. This is costing about a fifth of what it would cost to run your own film commission. And so to be able to have all the opportunities, kind of have a seat at the table, it's just an economical way of being able to do it.
I noticed today there was something that came across social media that Leonardo DiCaprio was filming a movie in Eureka. Any chance that they might shoot a scene here or two? Or, I mean, is that the kind of stuff you might inquire about? Just
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
You bet.
Mayor? I see I was interested in the film festival thing because I know how successful they are. And you said Northern California. Well, I don't consider Sonoma and San Francisco Northern California. So what does it take to get a film festival together?
A really good one, I would say, requires several staff members. And, especially leading up to the festival itself, it becomes a very full-time job.
Is this something that we're aspiring to?
We as in a community, or that's
The
beyond the
region?
scope of the film commission. Typically, the film commission doesn't produce it, but there are film festivals there's film, the Yuba City Arts Council has done like flash film festivals that have been pretty successful, I feel like, in the past, getting people together to create content and be able to share those. I always would encourage it to happen if you have people that are able to dedicate time to do so. Because you can draw on filmmakers. In Shasta County, for example, there's the Sundial Film Festival, and to be able to participate, you either have to live in the community or have shot in the production itself in the community. But there's all kinds. And you can even, depending on the scope of what people wanted to do, you can host like the Manhattan Short Film Festival, screens in different communities. So if you just wanted to have something in your area without having to do a lot of the...
Oh, so you can tail on to other festivals?
Yeah, there are ways of doing that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Oh, good, thank you. Anything else? All right. Well, Sabrina, thank you very much. You continue to do a lot of good work and in cooperation with the chamber, I'm sure. And we're looking forward to more information and more seeing Yuba City on the big screen.
For sure.
Good, thank you very much. Safe drive home. All right, move on to item number 3, appearance of interested citizens. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action items appearing on the consent calendar or business items on the agenda. When they are called, public comment on any other items within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on the agenda, will be considered at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Members of the public submitting written requests at least 24 hours prior to the meeting will be allotted 5 minutes to comment per speaker. Repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. Do we have any comments from the public? All right. You guys are leaving, not talking, right? All right, we'll go on to consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items prior to the time that council votes on the motion unless members of the city council request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Do we have any comments from the public on consent calendar items 4 through 8? All right, seeing none, we can entertain a motion.
Through the mayor,
Yes, sir.
move to approve consent calendar 4 through 8.
Second?
And first and a second, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, consent calendar is approved. Number 9 is time sensitive for 650, so we're going to go on to number 10. Levy of the 2024 annual assessment of the downtown Yuba City Business Improvement District. Diana Langley.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So at the December 19th meeting, Council considered the annual report for the Downtown Business Association Business Improvement District and set a public hearing for tonight. to consider the levy of assessments. And so after the public hearing, City Council can take one of the following actions: terminate proceedings if protests are received from business owners in the proposed district who collectively pay 50% or more of the proposed assessment, order changes in any of the matters provided in the annual report, continue the public hearing with the understanding that the public hearing must be completed within 30 days, or adopt a resolution confirming the annual report as originally filed or as amended, and the adoption of the resolution constitutes the levy of the assessment for calendar year, that should be, say, 2024. The alternatives are to not levy the assessments or identify alternate funding sources for the downtown improvements and activities. And there's no direct fiscal impact to the city, as the funds collected go towards the DBA for the activities that they do on an annual basis. And with that, the recommendation is that council conduct a public hearing and, after consideration, adopt a resolution confirming the annual report for the Yuba City Downtown Business Association and levying the assessment for the Downtown Business Improvement District for calendar year 2024. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and the public hearing number 3 for public hearing for levy of 2024 annual assessment of the downtown Yuba City Business Improvement District is now open. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the council on this issue, please provide your statement via public comment and state your name and address for the record. Do we have any public comments from the public on the item? Doesn't look like it. Hearing no further comment on the issue, I'm closing public hearing, and we'll entertain a motion from council.
Through the mayor.
Today.
Ready, sir? I move to adopt a resolution confirming the annual report of the Yuba City Downtown Business Association and levying the assessment for the DBA for calendar year 2024.
Second. I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, none. Thank you very much. And we'll go ahead on to number 11, the Montna Bocce Ball Courts, presented by Josh Wolf. Welcome, Josh.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Josh Wolf. I'm an Associate Civil Engineer with the Public Works Department, and tonight I've come to present to you the Montna Bocce Courts Contract Award. So this first slide just shows an overall exhibit of what the project's going to look like if it passes. You can see the bocce courts, they're proposed to go where the old Sam Brannan pool was. A few of the items that we have in the contract are steel benches for players to sit at during the playing times. Another one would be scoreboards, which you can see right here, branded with the Yuba City logo. And then last at the bottom, we have a gateway arch that would be dedicated with the Montna family's name on it. So for a project background, the background with the Special Olympics in the Montna family, in 1968, the Yuba Sutter Special Olympics was founded with by 4 members of the community, or 4 families of the community, which had children with special needs, one of which was the Montna family. In 1980, the Montna family donated funds to build Bocce's Pool, which was in service in the Yuba Sutter area from 1980 until 2016. And then in 2020, the Montna family's estate plan included a $300,000 donation to the Yuba Sutter Special Olympics. Then in fall of 2021, the Yuba Sutter Special Olympics approached the city so that the city could construct new bocce courts. In September of 2022, the City Council approved a donation and facility use agreement, which would allow the city to use said funds to construct the project. In 2023, staff completed the plan specifications and estimate for the Montna Bocce Courts project. And then in December of 2023, not 2024, the project was advertised for bids. The project bid advertisement started on December 15th, and then bids closed January 9th, and bids were opened. We had quite a large turnout. We had 12 bidders that responded to the bid advertisement. The project had a few bid alternatives based on comment from City Council and additional items that we may or may not want to include in the project. So in order to make sure that we coordinated that correctly, we determined that the low bid would be determined on the project base bid amount, not including that alternatives. After review of all the bids, Figueroa Landscape Company of Woodland, California was determined to be the lowest responsible bidder for the project with a low bid of $309,419.66. So as I mentioned, there were a few bid alternatives. I'll go through each of these individually. The top left, you'll see our bocce courts, which were constructed from oyster shells. That's a traditional method that goes back to the inception of the bocce game. That was one of the alternatives in which we would replace our original construction method of a concrete court with a turf system. Top right, you have 6-foot steel benches. That's actually the model that we installed at D.R. Baines Park. The community seems to like those. A third alternative was kind of an upgrade to that, which would include a 6-foot bench still, but now it would have a shade canopy above it. And then the last item for the alternatives was a shade structure to cover the bocce courts. So for the first item, the oyster shell courts, staff reviewed the construction methods, maintenance needs of oyster shell courts. What we found is the oyster shell courts do have a lower initial cost, and a lot of bocce purists enjoy playing on these type of courts because of the feel of the courts. Some of the downsides include the high maintenance need. Generally, you want to rake the oyster shell courts in between each match. Staff feels that the rakes could be subject to vandalism and theft. And then additionally, I think on a quarterly basis, staff would need to add additional oyster shells, rework the courts, roll the courts, and perform additional maintenance just to ensure that we have the prime playing surface. So we also looked into the artificial turf courts, which was staff's original design for the project. What we found is these type of courts have a 20-plus year useful life. I believe Kingwood Park bocce courts were installed in 2006, and there hasn't been a lot of maintenance done to those outside of routine maintenance. Lines can also be painted on the court for foul lines, boundary lines, other types of lines for the play. The playing surface is consistent, so wherever you throw the ball, you're going to get the same reaction. And in talking with the Special Olympics, this would be their preference. The one drawback is it is a higher initial cost than the oyster shell type courts. Moving on to the bid alternatives for the benches. Based on bid received, the 6-foot steel bench, the cost per bench is $2,982 for a total of $19,250 for 7 benches. The shade canopy models, they came in at $10,000 or $10,063 for a total of $70,441 to be added to the contract. Staff recommends that we go with the 6-foot steel benches based on price. And then lastly, the shade structures. With the bocce courts being nearly 100 feet long and having 4 courts wide, we would need 40 by 40 shade structures. Staff found that USA Shade provides a variety of different models, and the one that would best fit these courts would be a 40 by 40 foot shade structure, and we would need 4 of those to cover most of the court areas. The bids came in for those at $55,546 each for a total of $222,184. Staff recommends that we keep the artificial bocce courts as was listed in the base bid and add bid item number 17 for the 6-foot steel bench. In terms of fiscal impact, the low bid amount, including the steel benches, was $330,000 approximately. Staff would request a 10% contingency to cover any potential change orders throughout the project, and then a 5% construction management and inspection allocation to cover any staff costs for contract management and inspection for the project, which would lead to a total project cost of $379,837.71. Currently, the Bocce Courts CIP account has $292,460 available, which leave us about $87,000 in funds needed to complete the project. In order to ensure that we didn't tap into unallocated general funds, staff did a review of other Parks Department CIP accounts which had funds available and which were either substantially complete or we don't foresee being constructed this current fiscal year. From that, we found that Collins Corner has about $11,000 available, and that project has been substantially completed. The Feather River Parkway parking lot project has been substantially completed, has about $49,000 available. And then to cover that remainder of costs, the Town Center Fountain account, we would be using $27,666.36. These combination of account funds would get us to our total amount. So staff recommends that we would appropriate the funds from these projects to completely fund the project. Couple alternatives. One, council could instruct the staff to include or exclude items from the alternative bid schedules. This could increase or decrease the project cost based on what is selected. Second, council could instruct staff to utilize our alternative funding sources to fund the project. What staff recommends is adopting a resolution which awards a construction contract to Figueroa Landscape Company of Woodland in the amount of their total base bid of $309,419.66, plus the bid alternate schedule 2, item number 17, in the amount of $20,874 for a total amount of $330,293.66. It also authorizes the city manager to execute a contract on behalf of the city, subject to review and approval as to legal form by the city attorney, and then finally authorizes the finance director to make necessary supplemental appropriations to fund the Montna Bocce Ball Courts project. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions from the public on this item? Seeing none. Council, questions, comments? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for items A, B, and C.
Through the mayor.
Sure.
Recommend A, award construction contract to Figueroa Landscape Company, Inc., Woodland, California, in the amount of their total base bid of $309,419.66, plus bid alternative schedule 2, item number 17, in the amount of $20,874 for the total amount of $330,293.66. B, authorize the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city, subject to review and approval as to the legal form by the city attorney. And C, authorizes the finance director to make necessary supplemental appropriation to fund the Montna Bocce Ball Courts project.
Second.
First and second for items A, B, and C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a time check is about 1 or 2 minutes away.
Mr. Mayor, if you like, we can start on the next item and just finish the next item, then we can come back to item number 9.
I think we have 12 and 13 for, it's a 2-minute thing, so when we go jump to 14, do we have any future agenda items planned, gentlemen? Nothing? All right, so that's done. Ben, if you would care to start, I got to interrupt you in a couple minutes, but if you would like to go.
Mr. Mayor?
Sir.
If we start before 6:50, we can go all the way through Ben's item and conclude it before we have to come back.
Oh, we do? We don't have to start, we don't have to
As
pick
long
up.
as we've started it within the next minute and a half.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you.
I thought we had to stop right at 6:50, a hard stop.
We can, but we're not required to if we've already started in another
That's all I
item.
need to know. All right, go for it, Ben.
Okay, so the item I have
Thank you,
before you,
Shannon.
it's a little wordy, and I'll walk you through it, but really, I'm looking at it as administrative cleanup and to provide me some options as we look to do some recruitments. And so the item before you regarding the Public Works Development Services Supervisory Classification Adjustment. So basically, I'm looking at my mid-manager structure for Public Works and Development Services Department, and I'm doing some cleanup functions here. And so the three key points: administrative cleanup of current and former classifications. And so I'll walk through those here. Next slide. With the intent to increase engineering division functionality and project delivery, specifically focused on for facilities. With the recent retirement of the project manager, trying to figure out how to replace that role. And then also improve Public Works and Development Services mid-management options. And so with that, we'll talk about the senior planner and then the Public Works superintendent. So the table here before you, if you could see that, I want to highlight, so there's 4 different positions that are part of this staff report. And so what I'm proposing to do is in yellow. See, the senior civil engineer, it's as simple as I'm changing the name. So right now, the salary, the job description doesn't match the salary schedule. And so it's just to clean up as I do a recruitment, I want to clean this up. So the salary schedule is listed on the website. It's going to say senior civil engineer. And then that has repercussions because when we do classifications and we do the comp studies, we want to make sure it matches up with what we're doing. So it's simply a name change. Senior planner, we're adding this back to the mid-manager unit. And so there's a job description for this, but what happened a few years back is that in an effort to recruit for the senior planner position, they changed it to a principal planner, they changed it to a planning manager. And I want to go back to that series where I have an assistant, associate, senior planner. That's what the job industry is out there, and have that availability. So I'm not asking for money at this time. I'm not asking to budget anybody at this time, to be clear, but it's really, since I'm going in and messing with the mid-manager group and cleaning this up, I want to clean that up so that I have this series that matches the engineer series where it's an assistant, associate, senior planner. And so what I'm proposing to basically is add this back onto the salary schedule so it is a position should I come back to ask for a budget in the future. Please hit me up with any questions as I'm working through it. And so the Public Works Maintenance Superintendent position. So this is, historically, we've had this position. And so in the Public Works Department, I have some key branches. And so I have the Maintenance Division, I have the Utilities, and then I have Engineering. And then, so of those, I have a deputy. And so I have a Deputy of Maintenance, a Public Works Deputy of Engineering, a Public Works Deputy for Utilities. And so historically, some of those positions have started out as superintendents. And so when you review that classification across the job industry, it's there. You could have a superintendent over that maintenance branch. It's Public Works Superintendent. And so I'm not trying to add more bureaucracy, but what I'm trying to have is basically some flexibility, because right now that deputy has been out on extended leave. And so I want to put that classification back. So if I do an interim recruitment, I have a place to put somebody. And then that as somebody comes, if a deputy goes in and out, that provides me some flexibility to have a consistency for a mid-manager level position to oversee the supervisors at the corporation yard. And so I'm not asking for any more money, but I'm asking to create that on the job schedule and the job description. So, and then use existing budgeted funds should I need to temporarily put someone in for this position. That was a lot of words. Let me know if there's any questions. And then so this one, senior civil engineer reclassify. So really what this is it's moving the buckets of money. And so right now in the engineering division, there is a bucket of money for a senior civil engineer. There's a bucket of money for a project manager. That was our past project manager who retired. And I went to, after talking with that division, what they want is an engineer. Ideally, a senior civil engineer, but the chances of getting a senior civil engineer in this market is very, very rare. But what I'm doing is I'm moving the bucket of money from the project manager to the senior engineer, so it gives more people in the engineering division to help with facility projects. And so as we work on parks, as we work on fire stations, as we work on some of these small projects, it gives another body for that team that could kind of catch a little bit of everybody. And right now what we're doing is we're advertising for a senior civil engineer, and we're also advertising for an assistant and associate. And then what we're going to try to evaluate those three recruitments and then try to figure out what's the best way to fill that for the team. And so that's really the meat of what this item is. Again, the fiscal impact, senior civil engineer, senior planner, there's none. Public Works maintenance superintendent, it really depends. It depends on if the impact is going to use existing funds, but it really depends on the timing and what person is promoted, like their rate of pay, how much that delta is, as far as what that cost would be. And then the project manager reclassification, it's been empty now for the majority of the year. We do a recruitment, we're going to get them in place maybe the last 3 months of this year. And then we would, depending on how that recruitment plays out, we would look at for the budget. So with that, my recommendations are A and B, and I'd be happy to discuss any particulars. Thank you.
Any comment from the public on this item? All right. Comment or motion from council? So we need to adopt a resolution.
Through the mayor. The whole thing?
You can just say A and B.
I just like
A&B.
checking in nowadays
Yeah.
after 5 years.
Safe, yeah, safe.
Through the mayor, I'd like to move staff's recommendation items for item number 12, items 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3 of item A and item B as well.
Second?
All right, got a first and second for motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And oppose? Passes unanimously. All right, so now we'll go back up to item number 9. It's a public hearing number 3 for updating the city council member district boundaries for annexed property. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right.
So this is public hearing number 3 related to updating the city council member district boundaries due to annexed property. And so the areas that have been annexed are in the southern portion of the city. So you have an area bounded by George Washington Boulevard, Lincoln Road, Bogue Road, and then Sanborn on the east side. And then you have the area within the Bogue Stewart Master Plan. And so Walton, Bogue, Stewart, and then Railroad Avenue for the most part on the east side. This is, like I said, the third public hearing. The first one was on November 7th. We had one member of the public come forward with the suggestion that Highway 99 split the districts 4 and 5. We had another public hearing on December 19th. No one from the public spoke up. This is the third public hearing. I will note that as of January 1, there's a new state law in terms of how we address boundary modifications for council members. It will require a 5th public hearing for this item. We are going to add that to the February 20th meeting. So at the February 20th meeting, we will have the 5th public hearing as well as introduce the ordinance. The other thing that you'll notice differently is that this was a time certain item. And then also we have a phone number that people can call in to provide comments as well. So once we get into the public hearing, we'll check the phone to see if anybody has called in. The mandatory criteria is that any annexed property must be added to the nearest existing council district, and no other changes to existing council districts can occur. So in December, we brought forward the proposed boundary modifications that this area west of District 4 be incorporated into District 4. This area to the southeast of District 4 be added to District 4. Here's Highway 99 right here going north-south. And then this area on the east side of Highway 99 be incorporated into District 5. So with that, the recommendation is to conduct a public hearing to receive public input on the district boundaries.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. The public hearing 3 for updating the city council member district boundaries for annexed property is now open. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the council on the issue, please provide your statement via public comment and state your name and address for the record. Do we have any comments from the public on the item in the audience? Seeing none, do we have any virtual comments from the public on this item?
Through the mayor,
Yes, sir.
we are doing a final check on the phone. If you can just give us a minute here and.
Will do.
confirm. Thank you.
After you disconnect. You are the first participant to join the conference. Please stand by.
Through the mayor, there's no comment online.
All right, thank you very much. Hearing no further comment on the issue, I'm closing the public hearing and bringing the matter back to council. And this is actually, it says information only, no council action needed. So we will see you at the next time. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll go on to number 13, Bogue Improvements, SR 99 Railroad Avenue, Design Award, presented by Ben Moody.
All right, so this is kind of an exciting one in the engineering design world. So, so what I got before you is it's to design the Bogue Road improvements from 99 to Railroad Avenue. And so I came before you back in October. There was talk about a Newcomb Ranch, a DA amendment, and then providing direction regarding basically the city taking the lead regarding impact fee eligible roadway, Bogue Road, and how that ties into a sewer extension project that we're funding through ARPA. And so one of the first steps with moving forward in that direction is to award a design contract. And so what we've done is, so the Bogue Road improvements, high level, it has to do with the development with the Bogue Sewer Master Plan, Newcomb Ranch development requires that widening, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, basically a bigger width. You also have a sewer line that's going to run from the east to the west, which is a trunk line that we're hoping to get capacity to existing and new customers to the west as that trunk line gets out towards 99 and then ultimately under 99 into the west. And then there's also need for existing improvements. The maintenance of that road is getting rough on the north side, where it needs some rehab work. And so what the design and the improvements, it would be basically to put out a public project that would encompass those items to do. And so here's a quick exhibit just to the limits. And so you have the 99 intersection where you're going to have some left turn lanes and some widening here at the Bogue Road intersection. And then it'd be widened along the to the ultimate width along Newcomb Ranch boundary, rehab on the north, and then you would fit in the ultimate design with curbs and gutters and a sidewalk on the north to get to Railroad Avenue. And so design professionals, and so there's a couple ways to do it. You send out an RFP for design services, and then you would come back, you review them, and then award based on the most qualified, typically for professional services. With this, we're recommending a sole source just because of MHM's extensive knowledge. So MHM has been the engineer of record for the Bogue Stewart Master Plan since 2013, 2014. They've been intimately involved with all of the development site project and the layout. And so to go out to another to go out and do an RFP, I don't know how many people would bid on it because there's a lot of investment and sometimes that these large companies, these design companies put in, these engineer firms, and so they know that they don't have the resources to compete. A lot of times you don't have a good competition when it's evaluated, and it's really just the designer of Newcomb Ranch, their experience, the timeliness that they could deliver, having all that information already gathered. I think it would be an injustice as far as to the city, the cost that we would end up paying to another engineer to come in and trying to recreate a lot of that data. So fiscal impact. So things are expensive. And so this is estimated at around a $13 million job. Typically you've seen design expenses around 10%. Here, even though you're seeing a number around 381,000, We feel that that's within range, what design services would cost because of that existing background knowledge. But if we put an RFP out, typically you see a 10% charge on something that'd be around $1 million. And then with that, I'm recommending when we set up the account and shift some money into that for the contract, to also put a little money in there for labor, for staff time to bill to. And so what I'm recommending to fund this project is to take this as an existing CIP account. So we have an existing CIP account that is for the sewer extension project that the city's put in approximately $3.5 million there, is that we expand the scope of that CIP. We bring in $270,000 of impact fee that's currently allocated for the Third Bridge right-of-way. We shift that money over to this widening for the Bogue Road Improvement Project, and then we also use, for the maintenance portion of the work, we bring in a little maintenance money, streets and roads money from some remainder from the Bridge Street widening project. And so you see these different components because there's a sewer component, there's the impact fee road widening component, and then you have some maintenance component into that design. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I recommend A, B, and C as presented.
All right, any public comment on the item? Seeing none, back, anything from the council?
You're the mayor?
Yes, sir.
Ben, you stated about the bridge, Third Bridge. Was that intended to come over at Bogue, or was it farther down?
Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. It's Lincoln, right? Lincoln Road. I'm looking up at Diana, but the original general plan and how the fees were set up.
So that money, if my memory serves me correctly, that money dates back to our pre-2007 impact fee program. It goes back to an impact fee program from the 1990s. And at that point in time, the Third Bridge was going to be where the Caltrans right-of-way is for the Third Bridge. So it's south of Bogue.
It is farther down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm getting my streets messed up here.
So between Bogue and Shanghai Bend Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dog park.
Right.
Through the mayor.
Yep.
Thank you for that presentation, Ben. I hope, it's more of a comment than anything else. I hope the folks that do the design on this appreciate the amount of heavy truck traffic that's currently on that road. I mean, I get yelled at all the time about that. So I hope that is a consideration moving forward.
Good comment. Noted for sure. We'll make so it is planned to be built out as an arterial that is a truck route, but definitely we'll consider with the section designs.
All right, just need some action.
Through the mayor.
Yes.
Am I doing
A, B, C.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for staff's recommendation, item 13, A, B, and C.
Second.
All right. I have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
And oppose? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
We're already at 14. We'll go on to number 15, City Manager's Report.
All right, thank you. I noticed on the police department and fire department social media that congratulations are in order for Captain Blong Thor and Officer Bailey Manzel, as they are going to be recipients of awards at TIP's upcoming Heroes with Hearts Gala. We have a Tierra Buena Community Workshop scheduled for February 8th at 6 p.m. at River Valley High School in the library to talk about traffic concerns within the northwestern portion of the city around Tierra Buena. And then we also have a council goal setting session scheduled for January 30th at 8 a.m. at Hillcrest Catering. So with that, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Boomgarden.
Thank you, Mayor. Really only one meeting since we last met. It was a LAFCO meeting where we reconfirmed Supervisor Conant as the chair. We're doing 2-year terms now, and those will rotate next year. The other item that came up during that meeting was municipal services review for fire. This has been a longstanding item of quite a challenge, actually. It's much needed for the area, but with Mr. Levy at the helm as our executive director now, I fully expect that we'll get moving on that, and that document will sort of set the framework for fire and life safety service delivery in the county as we move forward. Have a SACOG funding meeting coming up this week, and I would like to end by saying just go pack, go.
Very well. Mr. Mayor?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, Sutter Flood Control Agency's meeting was canceled alongside of Gilsider's meeting was canceled. Mosquito, as you can imagine, is pretty slow this time of year, which is good. We did go through the quarterly, district's quarterly defined benefit plan for investments. And then with transit, really the big takeaway with transit is Transit's goal right now is just to get that funding for that new next-gen trans facility in Linda, and it's got a $55 million price tag on it, and so we're at about 41 million of that, and that's all I've got. And well, no, I take that back. I would like to add go Niners. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was.
Can you say all that again, please?
Was my mic off the whole time?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. You guys heard me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilmember Pasquale?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Mayor, or excuse me, Vice Mayor Shaw?
All right, really not much to report. It's been the holidays, it was Christmas, it was New Year's, and we didn't have anything going. I've got county oversight, RDA in the morning, we've got transit, and on Thursday, RWMA has been canceled, so the work for this year is just beginning. And what did you say about the pack? Oh, I remember, Dak should be packed, because he totally messed us up the other day, so, but I agree with you this weekend, go Packers.
Two so far.
I'm not a hockey guy, so I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Yeah. Yeah, holidays brought some breaks and some calm to the storm, so I have nothing to report either. It was a nice break. We're looking forward to get ready in 2024. Thank you all for coming, and this meeting's adjourned.